So whenever we measure a square or a rectangle, we're going to use this particular formula, and the formula is area equals length times width. And the way we write that as a formula is this. We write A equals length times width. So when you calculate the area, what you're trying to calculate is how many square units are inside of this square. So in order to do that, we need to calculate the length and the width. So today for our assignment, you're going to need a ruler, and we're going to be measuring in inches and maybe possibly feet as you get going on your assignment. But we're going to measure this object in inches, and we're going to measure this side, which we're going to call the length, or how tall it is. And as you can see, it's about 4 inches. And you'll notice on my ruler, do you see right here how the edge isn't this line? It comes in a little bit. So that means what? 0, and then I'm starting to count inches going this way. So you always want to make sure that very first line of your ruler is lined up exactly with the edge of the object that you're measuring. So on this side, it looks like my length is 4, and the unit we're measuring with is inches. So keep those inches in mind as we go here. This side, what do you predict this width of the green object will be? It looks like it's about 5. Okay, so if we do the formula, we can calculate it right now. We're going to do the area of this green piece of paper is the length times the width. And what is 4 times 5? It's 20, right? And we're not going to just say it's 20. We need to say it's 20 square inches. So what I want you to write is SQ, or actually I think I'm going to have you do that a little bit. There's a couple different ways you can do it, but let's just get in the habit of doing it this way. You're going to write inches, period, squared. And that little baby 2 is up above the N and to the side, and that in math always means square. So square inches. So what you've calculated is the length times the width, but what you're really saying is there are 20 square inches in this piece of paper. So this is what we've just calculated. We have 5, 10, 15, and 20 square inches. So whenever you answer, you always need to remember to add this part when you're calculating area. That's really important. The other important thing you want to do is if you're measuring, like today, later, I'm going to say, okay, go measure a book. And if you have a book, you're going to measure it. And what you're really wanting to do is be thinking to yourself, how many of these square inches could I put across the cover of the book to see how many there are? And that would be kind of the slower way, right, to cut up a bunch of squares and do it. The faster way is to measure with a ruler and then calculate the length times the width, and you get the same answer with the squares. But I really want you to make sure you're visualizing the grid here as you calculate the area. Okay, let's do another one of these. So here's another green piece of paper. You can tell I'm kind of in a green mood, aren't I? I have green marker, green paper, green paper. Must be close to St. Patrick's Day, I don't know. Okay, so here we go. So the area is length times width, so I'm going to measure this side, and this side is 3. Okay, this side is 8, it looks like, right? So about 8 inches. So now my multiplication problem is length times width, L times W, equals the area, and that is 3 times 8 equals, and what's your answer? If you said 24 square inches, you are correct. So we're going to write 24 inches squared. And again, I'm going to show you the visual. So what we have here is we have a grid that is 3 inches down, 8 inches across. 3 times 8 gives us 24 squares. Okay, so I'm going to get you going on your assignment today. And what you're going to get to do today is you're going to get to go for a little treasure hunt of household items around your home. And you're going to measure different things. And so you will need a ruler for this, so make sure you have that. And then you're going to measure different household items. Now let's say you come to something that you don't have in your home, just cross out that thing. Like let's say you don't have a playing card at your house or home. What you would do is you would just say, okay, I don't have that, but I have a box that I'm going to measure the top of, or I have a bookmark that I'm going to measure the top of, and that's totally fine. You can kind of make up your own objects as well. What we're going to do is we're going to measure our workbook together. So this is your math workbook, and this is what it looks like. It says Math Journal. It's kind of the same thing. I'm orienting it this way because the video doesn't pick up the whole book if I do it the other way. But what we're going to do is with this book, we're going to measure the length and the width. And if you don't have a book, you can do a piece of paper. You can actually do the worksheet that we're working on. That's fine. What I want you to remember, though, is we're measuring to the whole number. So we're not going to worry about fractions right now. We're just going to measure to the whole number. So you can round up or you can round down depending on what you want to do. And remember that this is an estimate. So don't get too hung up on measuring to the whole number. Just remember if you're at the halfway point, meaning half an inch, you go up to the highest number. And if you're below a half, you go down to the lower number. So my workbook, the length of it looks like it's about 11. So on my worksheet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write L, and I want you to write L too. So L equals 11. And those little marks there mean inch, okay? And then we're going to measure the width. And the width is, let's orient it this way. The width is a little under 8.5, right about at 8.5. So we could go down or we could go up. I'm actually just going to go down to 9 or down to 8 and call this 8. So the width is about 8 inches. And then our area is going to be 11 times 8. So go ahead and write 11 times 8. And our answer is going to be 88. And you can write inches squared, or you could write square inches. Either one is correct. Okay? They've written square inches. Now, what that means again is how many squares like this could I use to cover the whole book, right? So again, take that grid in your mind and put it on top of the object you're measuring today as you go through your home. So you're going to be measuring a desk or a table, a book, a playing card, a screen. So maybe your television or your laptop or an iPad, whatever you might have, or a cell phone. A drawer, like for your dresser where you keep your clothes, or a drawer that's found in a counter. You're going to do the top of a tissue box. If you don't happen to have that, pick something else. You're going to measure your refrigerator, which is going to probably be in, you're probably not going to want to measure that in inches, right? You're going to want to measure that in feet. And then you get to choose a couple of things that you're going to measure. Hopefully you can see that. So that's what you're going to do today. And when you're done, I'd love it if you posted it on Padlet so I can see what you did today. All right, thanks.